It started with a moment that no one noticed at first. A grainy security camera at Varna Airport in Bulgaria captured a young man standing near the entrance. He wore a yellow t-shirt, black shorts, and carried a small backpack slung over one shoulder. He looked ordinary, forgettable. Then he dropped his bag. Without warning, he turned and ran. Not toward airport security, not toward his flight gate, but straight out of the terminal, across the parking lot, over a fence, and into a wooded area beyond the airport grounds. That was the last confirmed sighting of Lars Mittank. More than 10 years later, no one knows what happened to him. Lars Mittank was 28 years old. He lived in Itzehoe, a quiet town in northern Germany, and worked various short-term jobs working as an electrical technician while trying to find his footing in adulthood. Friends described him as introverted, polite, and reserved. He wasn't impulsive. He wasn't reckless. And he wasn't known to disappear without telling anyone where he was going. In the summer of 2014, Lars traveled with friends to Golden Sands, a popular resort town on Bulgaria's Black Sea coast. The trip was supposed to be simple, a short vacation filled with beaches, nightlife, and a break from routine. But something went wrong. During one of the nights out, Lars became involved in an argument at a bar. Accounts vary, but the disagreement may have involved football fans from another country. At some point, Lars was struck in the face. The injury seemed minor at first, but doctors later confirmed that he had suffered a ruptured eardrum. His friends were scheduled to return to Germany as planned. Lars was advised not to fly immediately because of the ear injury. So while his friends boarded their flight home, Lars stayed behind alone. That decision would change everything. Lars checked into a small, inexpensive hotel near Varna Airport. It was supposed to be a temporary stay, just a few days until he was cleared to fly. But hotel staff would later say that Lars didn't seem like someone simply waiting for a medical green light. They noticed that he was nervous, restless, paranoid. He whispered during phone calls. He repeatedly asked staff if they saw suspicious people nearby. That he claimed that 4 men were following him and wanted to harm him. At one point, Lars abruptly packed his belongings and left the hotel in the middle of the night, only to return later, saying he felt unsafe elsewhere. In phone calls to his mother, Sandra Mittank, his fear became unmistakable. He told her that people were watching him, that he was in danger, that if something happened to him, it wouldn't be an accident. Then came a sentence that would haunt her forever. "Mom," he said, "if anything happens to me, it's because of those people." On the morning of July 8, 2014, Lars prepared to return home. He took a taxi to Varna Airport. Surveillance footage shows him entering the terminal alone. He appears tense, but physically unharmed. He checked in for his flight. Everything seemed normal. But before boarding, Lars was directed to the airport's medical clinic for a final examination. The doctor began to examine his ear. Suddenly, something changed. Lars stood up abruptly. His eyes darted toward the door. He appeared panicked. Then he shouted words that were later recalled by witnesses. "I don't want to die here." He bolted from the clinic. Security cameras followed him as he ran through the terminal. People turned to look. No one stopped him. Within seconds, Lars exited the building, crossed the parking lot, climbed over a fence, and disappeared into a wooded area or bush near the airport. He left everything behind. His passport, his phone, his wallet, his luggage. Everything except the clothes he was wearing. When Lars failed to board his flight, airport staff alerted authorities. Bulgarian police launched a search operation almost immediately. Dogs were brought in. The forest surrounding the airport was combed. Nearby fields, roads, and abandoned structures were searched and nothing was found. No footprints. No blood. No belongings. No sign of struggle. Lars's phone last registered near the airport, then went silent. There were no confirmed sightings after that moment on CCTV. As days turned into weeks, investigators struggled to explain how a man could vanish so completely in such a public place. Theories began to emerge. One possibility was that Lars had suffered a mental health crisis. Medical experts later suggested that a combination of head trauma, stress, possible medication, or an undiagnosed condition could have triggered acute psychosis. This might explain his paranoia, his fear, and his sudden flight from the clinic. But it didn't explain why no trace of him was ever found. Another theory suggested that Lars became lost in the forest and died from exposure or injury. But extensive searches failed to uncover remains. The area was not vast wilderness. It was close to populated zones, roads, and industrial sites. Then there was the most disturbing theory of all. That Lars wasn't running from nothing. That someone really was after him. Despite the lack of evidence, some believe Lars may have encountered the same individuals he feared days earlier. Others believe he crossed paths with the wrong people after leaving the airport. No arrests were made. No suspects were identified. No evidence confirmed foul play. As the investigation stalled, Lars's family refused to let his name fade. His mother became his loudest advocate. She spoke publicly, participated in documentaries, and pleaded for information. She insisted that her son had not simply lost his mind. He wasn't crazy, she said. He was scared. Online communities formed around the case. Thousands of people analyzed the airport footage frame by frame. They debated his posture, his speed, the direction he ran. Some asked why he dropped his bag. Others questioned why he ran away from help instead of toward it. Many wondered whether he truly believed he was about to die. Years passed. Still nothing. Today, Lars Mittank remains officially listed as a missing person. No body has ever been found and no evidence has ever closed the case. No explanation has ever fully satisfied investigators or the public. His disappearance remains one of the most baffling modern mysteries in Europe. A man vanished not in a remote wilderness, not in the middle of the ocean, but in broad daylight, at an international airport, surrounded by cameras and people. The last image of Lars shows him mid-stride, fear etched into his body language, running toward something only he could see, or running away from something only he could feel. Whatever happened to Lars Mittank happened quickly. And it happened silently. Somewhere beyond the reach of answers. And until the truth is known, his final run remains frozen in time, a reminder that sometimes the most unsettling mysteries aren't about what we know, but about what we never find. If you have your own thoughts, share them below. And if you want to explore more disappearances like this one, subscribe. Because some people don't just go missing, they vanish.